Is that a great song for this service? Yes. And that song is actually written by Daniel Nahmad. And Diana, let's give her some more love. And also for Ron Newman and Diana Hughes. In the beginning. What's the next word? It's in the Bible. Anybody Bible? In the beginning, what's the next word? I hear a lot of things. Well then, in the beginning, the next word is God. Okay, in case you didn't know. God. Now, God can be called, and if you don't drive with the word God, because some folks don't, in the beginning, Spirit. Love. In the beginning, the divine. Now, what's the next word after God or the divine? Created. Bingo. Okay, we got that one. In the beginning, God created. Created what? Heavens. Very good. You're getting an A up here in the front row. Heavens and earth. Now, the reason I'm talking to you about this in the beginning is because, of course, we are in the beginning of a new year. And we're also going to go back to basics. In Unity, we have 5 basic principles. Who's familiar with the 5 basic principles? Raise your hand. Okay, some of us are, some of us aren't. Those online that are, aren't. What I believe is true of all masters is that masters need to practice the basics. The scales on the piano. They have to practice their chords on the guitar. They need to practice if they're in the sports, the putting or the throwing. They practice, and they always come back to the fundamentals because you can never do anything without that foundation. So we are going to spend this month, which has 5 Sundays, how convenient, with the 5 principles so that we can build on those and build a strong fundamental foundation for ourselves for this new year. Isn't that, we want to have that as our beginning. So, principle number 1, who knows what that is? Shout it out. Well, we're close. We got a couple here. And by the way, there is a book that I want to make sure that you're aware of. Sorry, Poinsettia. Just brushed against her. She was okay. There is a book that I recommend everyone get, and it's called The 5 Principles by Ellen Devenport. She talks about, and this is a small book. I prefer smaller books myself, just because reading, and it's fairly big print, which also works for me. So the first principle is God is all. That's her name of her chapter. God is all, and I always say there is. She writes, principle number 1 affirms that God is all there is. God, or the divine, is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, not all-powerful, but all-power, not all-knowing, but all-knowledge, and is present everywhere. Spirit, or God, is the stars, the rocks, the animals, the people. Spirit, God, is the love, the creativity, and the wisdom that we as humans express. All that we are and have is God, or the divine, and we can never be separated from this universal power. She goes on to say, and I really like this, the Buddhist sutras envisioned a net stretching in all directions. The Hopis spoke of spider grandmother, who spun a great web connecting all things. To the ancient Chinese, it was the Tao, or the flow of the universe. The hymn of creation from the Hindu Rig Veda speaks of the absolute, called Brahma. This is the ground of being, or infinite reality. We also hear the names God, Holy Spirit, the universe, the way, Mother, Father, Creator, divine, one mind, source energy, first cause, and thanks to Star Wars, the Force, right? It's also been called Allah and Buddha, Christ, Kali, Shiva, Krishna, and Kuan Yin. Physicist Max Planck, the originator of the quantum physics, spoke of it as conscious, intelligent mind. And astronaut Edgar Mitchell called it nature's mind. And in scientific terms, it is the pure potential field, an energy that underlies all of creation. Charles Fillmore spoke of it as the life principle by which all creation falls into. It speaks of God in an impersonal way, that God is both personal and personal. And I'll be speaking in the upcoming weeks more about that personal aspect of the divine. And I know this is, I need to start taping myself. Tape up, because I can hear myself better, and you can probably too. So we'll just try to do what we do here and speak into the, I can hear myself. Anyway, that was Spirit giving me an adjustment. So what I know about the divine and Spirit, that it is both personal and impersonal. The impersonal part means that there is laws of creation that work all the time regardless. And it is done unto you as you believe. That is the basic principle, the law, and we'll go more into that in the upcoming weeks as we explore the other principles. She goes on to say, well, first of all, Spirit being everything and everyone means what? It means you and I, made in the image and likeness of the great Creator. We are creating. We create by our thoughts, by what we focus on. And she emphasizes that here when she says, life is consciousness. What we hold in mind shows up in reality. Mind, in this usage, compromises our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs that are centered both in our brain and in our hearts. If you want to know what's in your consciousness, look around at your life. The universe has delivered whatever you focused on, believed, or expected. Here's the key, consciously or not consciously. Because sometimes we're like, well, that I would never have brought into my life. And sometimes we have unconscious, subconscious beliefs that we need to examine and bring to the light and to change those beliefs. And it's a reprogramming. With your own divine power, you are the creator of your own experience. So we are creating our experiences all of the time because it's what we are using. This is a tool. Our mind is a tool to create feelings that creates the energy of actions and the results that happen in our lives. So, in the beginning, God created. In the beginning, we, being God beings, are creating. And so, the beginning of a new year is the prime time to begin again, to start afresh and new. Now, before I go on into the rest of today's service, how many of you make New Year's resolutions? Anyone? Okay, a few of you. So I'm going to give you a couple funnies for New Year's resolutions. Anybody have exercise on your New Year's resolution list? Okay, got some news for you. All you have to do is laugh, because laughing uses more muscles at any one time than any other activity. In fact, 15 muscles are required just to smile. And that's from Ben Franklin's almanac. So, it's got to be true. First woman says, "What are you looking for?" Second woman says, "Well, I'm looking for my New Year's resolutions that I wrote last January. I want to see how many I did." "Do you remember any of them?" "No, I can't really remember. I can't find that stupid list. I've looked everywhere." "You can't remember any of them?" Well, yeah, the first one was to get organized. You know what I would like is a piece of tape. If there's a possibility, someone could bring me some tape because I do want to be heard and I don't want to stand and hold my cheek. You can hear us. Okay. As long as you can hear, it changes it for me anyway. It seems like all my New Year's resolutions go in one year and out the other. Okay, last but not least, may all your troubles be as short-lived as your New Year's resolutions. Just saying. I personally don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I don't make them. What I'm more in belief in is tape. I believe in tape. You know, they say duct tape can work wonders on anything. Well, see, here we go. Just tape it. Actually, how's that look? Is it good? Now it sounds even better. So anyway, thank you for your assistance. Thank you, Jerry. So I don't necessarily believe in the making of New Year resolutions because I'll probably break them. I am more interested in calling forth New Year's revelations. Who likes that? There's New Year revelations. There's new revelations that are here for us to discover, to live, and to have. So I'm going to share with you different things this month. There is one thing I'm going to just bring to mind now before I neglect to say it. But when you came in, you all got a stone, hopefully, a white stone, a couple pieces of, or one piece or a couple pieces of the white tissue paper. It looks like tissue paper. It's actually dissolving paper, and a pencil. If you didn't get something, raise your hand, and that way we will have Jerry and Debbie will help you with that. And those folks that at home, please make sure you just have a piece of paper. It's okay to have just a regular piece of paper to do this ritual, because it's not really important what you're using as it is to do the ceremony. Also to have an object. If you don't have a white stone, let's say at home, an object that could serve as a white stone, something that you could write upon. And we'll be going through these ceremonies today. Now, in the past, I know that you've also done things like written letters to God and had God write back to you. We are going to work through the entire month of January in doing exercises to really move us forward. I might be, in past times, pre-COVID, I might be doing workshops. But I'm going to bring to you some of the things I do in workshops. So when you're heading out today, there is a sheets of paper, and those that are online, you can contact the office and let us know what your email address is, and we'll be happy to send them. What it does is it asks for it signifies 10 areas of your life and what you would most love to have or to experience. Because if we don't write it down, it's not going to become manifest. So I'm asking you to take that home with you. You will have a letter writing exercise to do, but not today, because again, we're only going to do so many things. Ernest Holmes, some of you might be familiar with, who is the founder of Science of Mind. He writes, "The starting point for creating a better future for ourselves is to deliberately free our minds from the mistakes of yesterday and feel that they no longer be held against us and not be a liability. We cannot go back over the past and relive it. True. We cannot make adjustments in the past. That's true. We have to make them now in the present. It's not going to do us any good to sit around and cry and bemoan our past and our fate, because the very day we are living now, we are creating our tomorrows, which will become monotonous repetitions of our yesterdays if we don't clear away first. You can't have anything new until you clear away. And you think about a garden. You want to clear away the rocks. You want to clear away the weeds. of stinking thinking and that type of thing. You want to clear the ground so that we can plant seeds that will grow and harvest in this new year. New Year's is like a reset button. It's a fresh start and it's a new beginning. Things that we wanted to do and didn't get done, let's hit that reset button and forgive ourselves. Let's move forward with new thoughts and new ideas and new intentions. So, who wants to release any hurts or grudges, resentments, regrets? You have a limiting thought, a belief, a person that you have a resentment with? This is going to be the exercise in release, because whenever I release, the next word is open. I release something, I am open. How many of you have done burning bowl in the past? Most everyone has. Well, this is a variation of the burning bowl. Reason we're doing called the dissolving bowl. Same premise, we're just not using fire. The reason is, being in the pandemic, we have sent out in the past, last year, myself to a congregation, and this year to a few folks. We don't want people at home doing the flash paper. It's a safety concern. So I've discovered dissolving paper. You can write on this paper, you can drop it in water, and it will dissolve. It's not as flashy as the flash burning thing, but you know what? Spirit can, and I like to use the phrase, dissolve back into the nothingness from which it came. So we're going to now do an exercise with the little white sheets of paper that you have and a pencil, and hopefully you're able to write without a hard subject, but I have faith that you can do this. What is it that you are ready to release so that you can have a greater experience of love and joy? And so Ron is just going to play some background music. And first of all, let's just take a breath and go within before we start writing. And as we breathe, let us connect to that power, to that presence that is breathing you now. And as we connect to that heart space, whatever comes to mind that you are ready to release now, I invite you to take the time to write on the sheets of paper that you have. Just write at the top, I release, and list anything and everything that is calling to be released. Are there habits that you'd like to release? Any fears? Any limiting thoughts or beliefs that no longer serve you? Any regrets or people that you're ready to forgive, including yourself? And so as you write, when you feel complete, you're invited to walk up the center aisle and just take the paper and you can drop it into the bowl of water that is here, and then return to your seat and feel what it feels like having released. Those people at home, when you're complete with your list of release, you may shred it, tear it up, and if you care to burn it, but burn it safely. There's no order in how you come up, just when you are ready. And to release it in love and gratitude. And you don't have to wait, because it'll take some time. Some things take a moment to release. Just placing it in the bowl with love and gratitude. As we release, we just give thanks. As the water takes it and dissolves it back into the native nothingness from which it came, we let go.
I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Woo!
Oh, please be seated. Do you feel a little lighter? Yes? Yeah. It feels good to release. Do you know 50% of life is release? Think about that. I'll talk about that on the month when we are doing the release. But your breath, you can only take in 50% and let go. So we let go. And when we let go, we make room for something greater. How many of you are familiar with the 12 powers? Okay, a lot of you are. The 12 powers, for those who don't know, Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, basically studied the Bible from that metaphysical point of view, looking at everything as symbolic of us in our everyday life. And he looked at the 12 disciples, and he recognized that each had a trait or a power or an ability, spiritual ability, that is in all people. And the idea was to talk about and look at those different traits and to realize that we can develop those traits. We can use those traits to have a better experience in life. It's like having a muscle. You don't even know how to use it. So it's discovering what that is and to use it. So we're focusing in the month of January on a specific power that helps us in creation. In fact, it's vital for our creative power. Anyone want to guess what that power is? I heard it. Say it again. Imagination. That's it. Imagination. Did you? Imagination. Imagine that, says Divine. Imagine that. Yes, the imagination. And you know the greatest nation in the universe is the imagination. So we're going to engage in this imagination for the month of January because it's our starting place. A book that will also tell you about these 12 powers, and I love this book, it's called Divine Audacity by Martella Whitsett. And she says, imagination, and this was according to James Dillett Freeman, who you may know as a spiritual teacher through Unity. Imagination is the act or power of forming a mental image of something not present to the senses or never before wholly perceived in reality. It's a power that frees us from the limitations of our senses. It's the power of conception. And the word conception originates the Latin root for conceive is to take into either the womb or the mind. It's the place of conception. She says imagination consists of three things, her aspects. One is conception, one is vision, and one is embodiment. We're looking today at conception. And that's where two things come together and something new comes forth. I believe that the imagination is our tapping into great spirits' ideas. See, we're connected to the great mind, and it's through the imagination that we can catch that idea. It's my mind with infinite mind, and they come together, and an idea is planted. And I can either ignore that, or I can use my imagination to expand upon it. The imagination is a power that we can engage in creating something that's never been before. It's a very exciting thing to have that tool of the imagination. And again, we'll be studying more about imagination this month because it is so powerful for us in our creativeness. And what I like to do is tap into spirit, because the one that's breathing me and that's breathing you is far greater than my limited mind, and especially my conditioned mind that thinks only certain things are possible. In truth, with God, you know the rest. All things are possible. And I just need to have that knowingness. So we're going to do what is called the white stone ceremony, because it's a way to connect to that greater mind. Because this one that is breathing us has for you, has for me, a name, a word, a spiritual phrase or something that it wants to reveal to you, reveal to me. I already had my revelation because I was thinking about this exercise, and as I was brushing my teeth, Spirit, I said, that's your meditation. I get a lot of things, brushing my teeth. I have my word. I know what my word for the year is. I'm not going to tell you because you have your own. So I'm going to invite you to just take that white stone in your hand and hold it. These white stones actually come from Israel, Hebron, Israel. And I'm not going to tell you the story today. I think it's fascinating. I just learned the story of the white stone and how that even came to be. But I don't, again, want to take up that time for this. So you have a white stone, and I invite you to just hold the stone and look upon it. You might close your eyes as I'm going to share this ceremony and thoughts with you and what this is. So as we breathe, we start this new year, time of new beginnings. And as you hold your white stone in your hand, know that you are starting this new year with a clean slate. This white stones, or whatever object you're using, you can use your imagination to imagine that it's from Israel. And feel the energy of the stone that you're holding. The white stone is actually an ancient ritual. And back in the time when Jesus was teaching and someone was serving time in prison or bondage in any kind, they were given a white stone when they were released. Each of us comes from bondage today in some form. And we are being given this white stone to signify our new freedom. This ceremony comes from Revelations 2:17, where John talks about the people being given a new name. Let anyone who has an ear listen to what Spirit says. This ear is not referring to our outer ear, but the ear of the soul which was inside of us. It refers to the ear that hears the still small voice as it whispers to us. And as we develop this inner listening, we get out of the intellect and into our hearts. The Bible also then says, to everyone who conquers, I will give some of the hidden manna. To all who see beyond appearances, I give what is needed and necessary to live, to thrive. That is the first promise. To everyone who conquers, it is not an outer war, but an inner war that requires our surrender. For us to be in the world, but not of the world. And yet, how many times have we not surrendered to sweet Spirit that calls us in every moment? But when we do surrender to the Spirit within, only then can we conquer. What a paradox. Only in surrender is there victory. Not an outer surrender, but an inner surrender of letting go and letting God be the one, the divine in me, through me, and as me. In the days of wandering in the wilderness with Moses, the manna was what Spirit sent every day. So when we surrender to Spirit, whatever we're needing is given in supply. The second part of the promise is that I will give a new name to those who have a white stone. This is a time when it was believed that the people had overcome the adversity in their lives and made connection with the one breathing them. Then they received a new name, and it was written on this white stone. A new name, a new nature, a powerful word. In the Bible, there's many name changes. Saul was transferred to Paul. Abram, as he grew in his spiritual awareness, became Abraham. And Sarai became Sarah. The change in name always signifies a change in consciousness. In biblical times, a name was a very sacred thing and represented a quality. And that quality was embodied by the person with that name. After we surrender, and as we surrender to the Spirit that is breathing us, we receive this new name. It is a higher realization of the I am. The I am that I am It's not what we think of ourselves. It is the Spirit. It is the higher self, God's self, or the true self, speaking the I am, that brings forth the name, the quality, that is to be received by each of us today for this new year, this new slate. White metaphysically represents victory, purification, and joy. I am who I am. And so I invite you to consciously invite the activity of the one that breathes us. Something is being called forth for you to be revealed, to be experienced and embodied by you this year. Invite you now to just receive your new quality or word or name. As it comes to you, I invite you to write the word, the phrase, the name. You can use a pencil to write it now, and I encourage you to write it perhaps in marker later, making it even more visible and permanent. Once you have that name and you've written it upon your stone or the object that represents your stone, place it, your hand holding the stone, upon your heart. Imagining yourself embodying this name, that it is being absorbed into your heart and into your body. And feel the gratitude. The joy of this new name. And as we give thanks for this stone, this name, this is our special name, our quality, that we hold precious and meditate upon throughout the year, knowing it carries a power greater than we could have imagined. And so in gratitude, we let this go. And if you care to anchor that with me, please say, and so it is. You have a new name. It's a new year. I am so thrilled, and I'm going to close with the quote by Sarah Van Brethnock. She says, "A fresh start, a new chapter in life waiting to be written, answers to be discovered and then lived in this transformative year of delight and self-discovery. Today, we have carved out a quiet interlude for ourselves in which to dream with that pen or pencil in hand. Only dreams give birth to change. Take a leap of faith and begin this wondrous new year by believing. Believe in yourself. Believe there's a loving source, a sower of dreams, just waiting to make the revelations yours. The true you, the new you in 2022. It's ready. Are you? Let's imagine it together And so it is.